Oricorio, a Pokemon with the ability to change its form through the use of differently colored nectars.
Well, duh.
With each form having a unique type and dance style associated with it.
Well, duh.
So let's take a look at what an Oricorio of every type might look like.
Here we go again.
Hey everyone, Brandon here. Today we are taking a look at Oricorio. This dance-themed avian has been one of the more requested Pokemon for me to do an of every type video on. Oricorio's multiple types being associated with different dance styles really intrigued me. There are so many possibilities as to what dance style could be associated with what type. I made a lot of my own original Oricorios for this video, but there are some that I included from other artists because I just felt they made too much sense. The existing forms of Oricorio being Fire, Electric, Psychic, and Ghost.
Well, duh.
That leaves 14 types for us to fill. And for this one, I will be doing the pure flying type, as it makes sense in this context.
Bravo!
Anyway, let's get to it. Starting us off is the ground type. After giving your Oricorio an orange nectar, it becomes this form by Tubbs AZ. It's based on square dancing. The ground type being associated with a cowboy harkens back to the dusty deserts of the Old West, so this combo works really well together. Honestly, this form just makes way too much sense. If we ever get a Western US-based region, this absolutely needs to be real. This Oricorio causes minor seismic activity when it dances. It is one of the more rowdy forms of Oricorio, often trying to bring others in to dance. Next up, we have the fairy type. After giving your Oricorio a white nectar, it would become this form by Pokemachi. This form is based on ballet dancers and the famous ballet Swan Lake. The fairy type and ballet, could there be a better matchup? The artistry of ballet really evokes that elegance, sprightliness, and splendor of the fairy type. This form of Oricorio loves to dance around on the tips of its talons with grace, poise, and swiftness. It uses devastating pirouettes to dispatch its foes. For the fighting type, after giving your Oricorio a magenta nectar, you would get this form by Ruan Raphael Art. This form is based on funk dances, specifically the Boogaloo. Yes, this is Oricorio 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Or should I say fighting Boogaloo. The artist also said they were inspired by the music video Show das Ponderosas by the artist Anita. This form of Oricorio uses energetic dance moves to confuse its opponents. When the opponent lets their guard down, it will follow up with attacks such as high jump kick and wing attack. Honestly, the fighting type could work with many different dance styles, but I thought this funk form fit best. For the normal type, after giving your Oricorio a beige nectar, it would become this form by Kai Fakemon SR. This form is based on the Samba dance style. These are the most common form of Oricorio, and most believe it to be its original form. These Oricorio will often reunite in groups where they dance in circles, spinning and singing, which has inspired people to make their own celebratory festival whenever these Pokemon reunite. If you've made it this far into the video, I'm sure you'd like the rest of the content on this channel, so make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to keep up to date with future videos. So from here on, all these Oricorio will be ones that I came up with. I worked with the incredible Kai Fakemon SR to bring these to life, so let's get into them. First up, we have the Ice type. After giving Oricorio an Arctic Blue nectar, you would get this form of Oricorio.
Let it go, let it go.
Disco
Can't hold it back anymore.
by Rufus Thomas, and the dance move associated with it, as well as
Turn away and slam the door.
pattern.
I don't care.
Also, it is a bit of a stretch, but you can kind of fit ice into the word disco, like Diceco. Is that too big of a stretch? Its appearance is of course based on the iconic disco movie Saturday Night Fever, and John Travolta's character in it, Tony Manero. This Oricorio uses its super cool dance moves to freeze its opponents in their tracks. Get it? Super cool?
Lame. Oh, you stink! This guy stinks!
Next, we have the Grass type. After giving Oricorio a green nectar, you would receive this form of Oricorio. This one is based on Irish step dancing. Commonly known depictions of this dance style are the River Dance and Lord of the Dance. The reason I chose this style for the Grass type is because of the association between the color green and Ireland, with imagery such as leprechauns, shamrocks, the sprawling fields of lush grass that used to surround Meagoff.
What the hell is that?
Sorry, I got a little lost in my Irish roots there.
Nobody cares!
A room full of everyone who asked.
Anyway, as you can see, this Oricorio has the classic attire of an Irish step dancer, as well as the poofy hair and hands, or I guess wings, on its hips. This Oricorio can help plants grow by dancing before them. It is said that a team of this Oricorio once danced across an entire region and filled it with flora. For the bug type, after giving Oricorio a olive nectar, you would get this form of Oricorio.
Have you ever noticed salt shakers? I mean, you fill them up every night at closing, and I mean, where does it all go? Huh? You know what I mean?
Okay guys, I'm actually really proud of the dance style behind this one. This form is based on, wait for it, the jitterbug. Eh? Eh? Clever, right?
No!
The jitterbug is a type of swing dancing that was popular in the late 1930s and early 1940s. The design of this form is based on the attire of swing dancers of that time. We also gave it these two little curly antenna-like feathers that are not only a way of displaying the bug typing, but are also a reference to the curly hairstyles that were popular in the 1930s. As I have said in the past, the bug typing is always hard to apply to non-bug Pokemon, but I am extremely proud of how this one came out.
Hey champ, that's really interesting. Next time, keep it to yourself.
Nobody cares!
And the fact that I managed to slip a pun in there. This form of Oricorio likes to buzz around, energetically dancing from place to place with a look of ease and freedom. Next up, we have the water type. For this type, I wanted to do something very flowy with liquidy movements, so I decided to go with belly dancing.
You serious? Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
The hip movements, belly rolling, the fabric of the hip scarves used in this style of dance very much give off that vibe I was thinking of. So when you give your Oricorio a blue
What the fuck?
It wouldn't exactly be easy to show off the other aspects of belly dancing while using Oricorio as a base. This Oricorio uses its flowing movements to calm and enchant its foes into a subdued state. For the dark type, when you give Oricorio a black nectar, it becomes this form. This form of Oricorio is based on rave dancing, aka raving. It is also based on the famous meme of the Cybergoth dance party. I thought that the dark type would suit this very well, as goths are seen as a very dark, all-black kind of style, but Cybergoths mix in that pop of color, and I thought it would be a unique take on a dark type Oricorio. You can see the Cybergoth and rave inspiration in its coloration. We gave it these bright feathers that kind of act like glow sticks. Also, we of course had to sneak in some devil horns in there, as dark type is the evil type in Japan. Also, we noticed this after completing it, but it's TikTok colored, so I guess there's another dance style in there for you. This form of Oricorio only comes out at night. It will use its brightly colored feathers to reflect the moonlight and stun their prey. Next up is the poison type. When giving Oricorio a violet nectar, and no, there is not a scarlet nectar.
Here we go!
You will receive this form of Oricorio. It is based on punk dancing and mosh pits. The reason I picked this for the poison type rather than the dark type was I thought that the poison type could reflect the greens and purples that are often associated with the punk and even grunge styles. As you can see, this Oricorio has bright green mohawk-like feathers and is giving us the sign of the horns. I also added the inspiration of the pitohui in there. It is one of the only poisonous birds in the world due to a certain type of beetle in its diet. This form of Oricorio seems to move randomly with no real pattern. They will bash themselves into opponents, trying to rub off some of their toxic feathers up against them in hopes they'll get poisoned. For the rock type, once you give Oricorio a brown nectar, you would get this form of Oricorio. This form is based on the hip-hop and pop dance styles, but specifically the pop and lock style. The locking part of this dance, for me, kind of evokes the poses you could see of statues. But the most fun part to me is if you put the word locking into katakana, you would get rocking. So I just had to do the rock type for this style.
What? What are you thinking?
We gave it a little feather hat and these kind of loose overalls because we wanted to evoke that 90s style.
What? What are you thinking?
I was also inspired by the video The Evolution of Hip Hop with Will Smith and Jimmy Fallon. This form of oratorio will be dancing and then lock into one position, sometimes for hours. Some say this was developed as a defense mechanism against predators. Others think it's just trying to look cool. Next up is the pure flying type. When giving Oricorio a sky blue nectar, you would get this form of Oricorio. This form of Oricorio is inspired by aerial dancing, made famous by acts such as the Cirque du Soleil. This just had to be the pure flying type dance style. I mean, it's in the name, aerial dancing.
Oh, you stink! Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
While sort of obvious, I really do like how this form turned out. We tried to make the wings and tail emulate the aerial silks often used in this style of dance. It really gives off the flowing, effortless, gravity-defying feeling that aerial dancing does. It kinda gives you the question of, is this thing flying or is it just hovering using its tail? The world may never know. Oricorio in this form spend most of their time dancing in the air, only landing to rest or eat. Now for the steel type. When giving your Oricorio a silver nectar, you will receive this form. It is based on tap dancing. This was another one that just felt obvious to me. The style of this one was trying to replicate that old-timey top hat and cane, hello my baby, hello my honey, hello my ragtime gal type of performance. The whole grayscale coloration was meant to reference old black and white movie musicals that had these kinds of performances in them. We even gave it metal talons on its feet that it can tap with. The very definition of metal claw. This Oricorio form uses its metal talons to tap on the ground in specific patterns to attract mates. The more vigorous and complex the tapping, the more likely it is to find a partner. Giggity. Last but not least, we have the dragon type. The dragon type was very hard to pick for. I mean, when I think dragons and dances, I of course think the Pokemon move, the dancing dragon from Avatar: The Last Airbender, and the George R.R. Martin book.
Nobody cares!
But what I ultimately decided on is a dance style that has a huge presence like a dragon would. A style that is currently taking over our world. K-pop. So after giving your Oricorio an indigo nectar, it would become this form of Oricorio. While also inspired by idols and idol groups found in Korea and Japan in general, I really drew inspiration from BTS on this one. Honestly, while I'm not a K-pop stan, I really do enjoy BTS's music, and they do have a massive presence around the world right now. We used the purple coloration and sharper fang and claw-like angles in the feathers to help evoke that dragon typing, while still trying to maintain that K-pop style with the head feathers, tail, and clothes. I'm actually very proud of how this one turned out, and for me it definitely fits the dragon type. This form of Oricorio uses a vicious yet subdued style of dance to intimidate its enemies, often leading to its opponents actually becoming infatuated with it. And that's an Oricorio of every type. Let me know what you think and which one was your favorite. In all honesty, this was probably my favorite one to do thus far, and really pushed me creatively, so I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Thanks so much for watching, and with that, I will see you guys next time.